Hello, how you guys doing? James here. Hope you're doing well out there, helping us stay cool this humidity the next couple of days to a week. Got my little fresh cut here. You had to get before that sun, that hair. When your hair start growing, that's just get the itching and gotta wash it. Anyway, um, anyway, this topic is going to be on interracial relationships. I've done videos in this in the past, but you're going to hear from not only black people, black men, black women, but in some cases, going to be some white women. Going to talk about interracial dating, the real deal, and it's a really interesting take on it. But let's start with this video.
What's up, you guys and ladies? Sorry, I'm still with my badge. How you guys doing? This is Patrick again, back with another video. Hope you guys are staying cool and staying hydrated and staying out the sun, because the sun is blazing, especially here in California. I think it was about 111 today, 112. So try not to be out there in the sun, or else you'll pass out like I just seen somebody not too long ago when I was heading home from work. Seriously. The title of this video is called "We Love Black Men Act You Naive Cooney Tunes Fall For from These Grown Girls of Society." Since social media had its first platforms for likes and following, a lot of grown girls of all races have found a way to get a quick following. And from what I have observed from all these platforms, from Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram being the main one, and now we have TikTok, I have seen the quick pandering, quick subscriber increase from grown girls who will easily get off really fast on saying we love black men. And these are from all grown girls of society, from black, Latina, Asian, white. But if you really want to be honest, the main ones, from what I've seen, were white, Asian, and Latina grown girls. Because I just know for a fact that most of these women, white women, Latino women, Asian women, wouldn't parade around on social media saying this, but the grown girls will, because they love attention and they lust after attention. And saying this, we love black men, making it like a little 5-minute, 10-minute video about how much they love black men, when in reality they don't really love black men. They love the grown black boys, because in most cases they can't get authentic, mature, adult black men, because quite frankly they know that they can't control them, but they can easily control these grown black boys. And you already know who I'm going to say, who they can easily control. That dark skin, dark brown skin, grown black boy society. Once this is said, her inbox or her message board of comments excuse me, will be flooded with simps, beta males, as they say, blue pill guys, who will constantly make these lustful comments. That's what's up, ma. Won't you come F with a nigga like me. That's what I'm talking about. I love me some spicy Latina women, or I love me some Asian women, or I love me some white women. But they don't know that these are grown girls. And this pandering act is a very, very scheme of all schemes to increase that sub and the likes and whatever that's in relation to whatever platform it is for them to gain access to more recognition of popularity. This is what they do. All they have to say to get you gullible, ignorant buffoons to follow them is to say, we love black men. And this attention that you give them, this lustful boost of energy that fills them up. I mean, their ego is off the Richter scale. This is why they parade around non-black grown girls. This is why they parade around, as well as some of the black grown girls in society. They parade around all big-headed too, because all these comments that they are receiving from these buffoons, these grown black boys, particularly the dark-skinned, dark brown-skinned ones. You get them all the time making these comments. I mean, I can go on and talk about I don't have a list of the stupidity of comments that they make. And in most cases, once they make these comments, they don't get like a heart or whatever, like for YouTube it's like a heart. When you say something good, they like your comment, you give them a heart. They don't get any of this from any of these grown girls. They might get like a thanks. Oh, cool. Thank you. That's it. And then he tries to pursue her after that, and it doesn't even work. Because in reality, they really don't want you. And I don't think you understand that unless you are, in fact, the last resort. And that's what you are. I'm sorry. This is what you need to know, Mr. Mandingo, Mr. I'm the man. Mr. I'm the alpha male. I mean, you are in fact the last resort. Because truth be told, that black woman, Latina woman, white woman, Asian woman, even Indian women, if they were to date outside their race, let's exclude the black women, if they were to date outside their race, they would in fact, and I've been told this, I don't know what everybody else has been told, but I've been, from the circle I have, or once had, because I don't really associate that much with, some people anymore, if they were to date outside their race, they would date an attractive, light-skinned, mixed, biracial black man, as well as a light brown-skinned one as well. Even a brown-skinned one. But, from what I was told, they would always go for the lighter-skinned ones. Don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what I was told. How do I know? Because before I met my fiance, I dated Latino women, Asian, and yes, of course, a couple of white women who preferred to date a light-skinned, mixed biracial black man, and they just wanted that. And when they would show me things about the comments that they receive on all these platforms and stuff like that, you will constantly see this barrage of dark brown skinned black boys just pandering just an ass, to the point where it was so sad. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. It's stupid, and you're not getting anywhere by doing this. It's all trickery in most cases. With these grown girls who say, I love black men. They love black men, but they can't get black men. So they go get you, the last resort. That's what you are. Yes, they love the attention from the Latinos, the white boys, Latino boys, the white boys, the Asian boys. I don't think they like attention from Indian boys. Sorry, talking about bottom of the totem pole. You guys are at 0. Sorry, this is the truth. They like the attention from them, but there's no greater attention than attention from a black man. And if she can't get that, she goes to the last resort, which is the grown black boy. And these girls around the world are seeing how desperate and gullible you are. I mean, globally, they know how to gain a quick following. They just make little short snippet videos talking about how much they love black men, and then you believe that she's referring to you. She's not referring to you. She's referring to an authentic black mature man. Not you, grown boy. Not you. She'll use you for attention. You know, that lustful attention. When she wants to control someone like a puppy dog. And she can go back to her friends and brag about how you do everything that she says. Because let's face it, in today's modern society, grown girls love a grown boy who they can control. And if they can't control him, which is the men, they want nothing to do with him. So they go and pick and choose all the grown boys of society. But with you, grown black boy, she really loves to choose you because you are her slave. And you don't mind being a slave, especially a sex slave. You really don't mind it. It's so pathetic the way you carry on when it comes to these non-black women with whom you can't get, and these non-black grown girls who you sometimes get. I mean, all the pandering and pussy begging that you do is off the Richter scale. Like I said, previous videos, many times I've said this. I mean, the way you carry on, once she says this, I love black men, it's that the insecurity it just flows off.
Without using your own money, without risk, without buying or selling anything yourself.
You know, a lot of people question, why is it that a lot of the black athletes, when they go to the NFL draft, NBA draft, etc., they're all sitting up there with Becky. You know what I'm saying? We don't come from communities where they are readily available, but it seems like it's a targeting of these black male athletes. Well, they have this one young woman that's worked with a lot of athletes, and she reveals something why these black men have Becky on their arm.
So the NBA draft just passed, and everyone's still wondering about why every single professional athlete seems to have a white girlfriend or a girlfriend who's like super light skin, almost white. So I worked a whole entire year in marketing and sports for professional athletes, but I also live in Miami, so I've met a lot of like professional athletes as well, just because it's Miami. And let me tell you something, when there's a black man, especially a black man who's come from a predominantly like black community, right, and he's about to go into the NFL, NBA draft, whatever the case may be, and they're waving millions of dollars in his face for endorsements, brand deals, sponsorships, whatever the case may be, the brands most of the time want proximity to whiteness. So that means whatever the brand wants, they're going to get. And especially when you have managers and agents who are like money driven and who know they're going to get that 3 to 5% cut off of that athlete, they're going to encourage the athlete to date a white woman. They're going to encourage that athlete to date women who are very, very light skinned and also have a very classy persona on social media, because that's what brands are going to pay the most money for. Because a lot of times when you have athletes, especially who come from like predominantly black communities and a lot of times low income communities, and this is kind of like their golden ticket out of the hood, if that makes sense, they're going to do whatever it takes to get that money, especially when there's millions of dollars on the line and they're not used to money. So many black creators, even on here, they come and tell you that they don't make the same as their white counterparts. And even me, as a light-skinned black woman, it's like, I know that I have privilege, but I also know there's my same white counterparts doing the exact same thing, getting paid way more than I am. So imagine a darker skinned creator. So think about it. A lot of these athletes, this is their golden ticket out. This is their golden ticket to the life that they've been dreaming of for them and their family. So if they have to be in a proximity to whiteness to get millions of dollars, they're going to do it. And their agents, their managers, everyone on their team is going to push them towards that.
Now, it makes sense. It makes plenty sense that in order for this black athlete to get access to this kind of money, they want him to have a white woman on his arm so they can funnel that money back to the white community. Now, that's basically what they want to do. Take the money from the black man and funnel it right back to the white community, right? Go just in exchange from his hand right back to theirs. That's number one. Then she said, if they don't have that, they got to have a light-skinned black woman on their arm if they're going to date somebody outside of white women. It makes sense, and that's what you kind of see. You kind of see athletes either have a white woman or a very light-skinned black woman, or, you know, she's not going to be dark-skinned like that. And when I say dark-skinned, I mean like my color or darker. You don't really see a whole lot of them with women like that. So if they're being encouraged by the agents, being encouraged by different people to get a deal, then they're like, okay, well, shoot, man, I guess. You know, because like she said, that's their golden ticket out of the life that they grew up in. Some of them grew up in horrible conditions in a lot of these neighborhoods in America, unfortunately. So it's all a game. It's all a game, and I kind of knew that it just wasn't coincidence that all these black men was dating all these white women, because most black men don't even desire white women like that. That's the thing. Like, brothers ain't checking on no white women like that. And if they do mess with them, because I guess that's what they generally like, but it's definitely not the majority. It's not. And all these athletes they talk about had all black girlfriends anyway in high school, etc. So you know it has to be something nefarious. And this sister talked about it, and I get it 2,000%. You know what she's saying, but you know at the end of the day, these young men gotta have their own mind. And I'm like, look, I don't want to deal with them, because what, in the divorce you gonna just take it from me? No, And talk to your sons, ladies and gentlemen. Talk to your sons, because those relationships with Becky can get you in a world of trouble. Ask Jonathan Majors.
Oh, hold on.
Insecurity just flows off of you because you're so insecure off your looks, you know, just how you feel in general, and that's nobody's fault. So once you hear this type of wording from her, you feel good. It makes you feel a certain way. You're like a little kid that just walked in a candy store and your mother told you you can pick whatever you want. I mean, you would truly have a Kool-Aid smile. I mean, it's comical. You start, really? I'm attractive? You think I'm attractive? Really? Really? You think I'm attractive? You notice, you never see, or you hardly see, any light-skinned, biracial, mixed black men making these type of comments towards these grown girls of society when they say we love black men. You notice that? Seriously, if you happen to go on any of these platforms today, look at the comments and see if you see any light-skinned, mixed, biracial black men. You may see maybe one or two, a few, three, but the majority of them are in fact the grand simps of all simps, pussy beggars of all pussy beggars, which are the dark-skinned, dark brown-skinned black boys of society. And that's the truth. I'm sorry if you don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And they know how to get you guys. All they have to do is say that. You got a king right here. You got a king right here. He's ready. He's ready to be with you. He's ready to be with you, Latina queen, or white queen, Asian queen. They just sit back and laugh. They show their friends. They even show their guy friends. They sit back and laugh. It's sad and pathetic. And you're like a guard dog when you're with one of these non-black grown girls. You're like a guard dog. You're in horrible scarcity. You're afraid that perhaps maybe, just maybe, a light-skinned mixed biracial black man will come along and she'll look. And that's it. She's gonna leave me. She's gonna leave me for this guy. I know she is. That's how insecure you are.
After this video, your life is never going to be the same. So I need you to stop whatever you're...
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Dump. I was on World Star Hip Hop the other day when I came across this particular clip of this Caucasian lady. And this particular lady is married to a black man. She said she's been dating black men all of her life. She even considers some of the women that helped raise her in the projects as her own mothers. She sounds like an African American, and she has a child by a black man. Okay, so that's one of the things. But she has a very serious warning for some of you black men out there that are dating white women, and she's also giving a warning to white women who are dating black men. And I really want the opportunity to put this out here for you guys so that you can hear this message. I'm going to come back.
If you are a white woman and you are dating, in love with, married to a black man, I want you to listen up. There are certain things that you need to know, and I don't think this is spoke about enough. But the most dangerous thing in this world are the tears of a white woman. And if you truly love the black man that you are with, you need to know that you need to have his back and protect him at all costs, including protecting him from yourself. And what do I mean by that? My son was dating a white woman. My son is biracial. They got into an argument in public, and she started to scream and cry. And my son immediately left the scene. She was outraged. She couldn't believe my son left. My son left because my son knew that if he stayed there and this woman was crying and screaming at him, a black man, there was not going to be any questions asked. He was going to be thrown to the ground. He was going to go to jail. It was not going to be any questions asked because this white woman was crying and screaming about him. Now, I'm sure this female may have been hurt, her feelings were hurt. She was a little emotional. However, when you are dating a black man and you're a white woman, you need to understand that sometimes your fucking feelings and your emotions have to take a fucking back seat to not cause harm to the person you are dating, that you love, that you are married to. And I'm not telling you that if you are truly in fucking danger, not to get help. But if you're just emotional, you're just pissed off, and you want to scream and hoop and holler, in public is not the time. Because that can turn out very deadly for the black man that you claim to love so much, whether you realize it or not. If you were just dating a white man and you were yelling, nobody would really pay any attention to that shit. But when people see a white woman and a black man and you're screaming, all hell will break loose. Because when white women cry, everybody responds. Even if the shit is stupid, even if it's frivolous, even if it's a lie. The most deadliest thing in this world are white women tears. I have said this time and time again, and I learned this very, very early in life. I grew up in the projects. I was raised by two wonderful black women that helped my mother raise me. So I know what I have witnessed, what I have experienced, and I know for a fact of what I speak. I learned very early in life that I could be a voice for my friends and my family because people would listen to me far more than they would listen to them. And if you listen to anything I have ever said to you on this app, if you are a white woman and you are dating a black man, you are in love with a black man, you are married to a black man.
Alright, I'm going to be straightforward with you. I paid for this ad to be in front of you right now, and it targeted you because you're an entrepreneur.
You need to know that you need to have his back and protect him at all costs, even if it is protecting him from you. Handle that shit at home if you are not in danger.
So guys, I think that's a very important thing. First of all, I've never dated white women enough to see something like this occur as to what she's talking about. But it can make sense, you know. As a black man, you're having a disagreement with your lady out in the public. If the lady, for whatever reason, starts to become frantic, starts to yell back, or be upset more than you, yeah, those people are going to come to her defense. And it's not the same as it is with a black woman. When you're with a white woman, you know, everything is on edge for a black man. I had a family member who dated a Caucasian lady for a long time. And this is one of those Caucasian ladies that white men want. You know, she was tall, blonde. I believe she was from like Minneapolis, something like that. And my mother disliked her a lot. My mother did not like her, did not care for her, largely because she was a Caucasian lady, and she just didn't trust her as a Caucasian lady. That's pretty much what happened, right? So anyways, to make a long story short, my brother gets with her, and one day the lady, they had an argument, and the lady says, fine, you know, I'm going to call the police on you and say you hit me. Police came, they took my brother, brother went to jail, and so the police were like, well, listen, this is a big guy, you know, if he would have hit you, you know, it would have been a lot bigger. So she finally admitted that she lied. My brother stayed with her for a little bit more, and that was it. But what if he didn't, right? What if my brother didn't deal with her? Okay? What if my brother would have gotten in jail for false allegation? And the reason why that he did that is because she was mad and she felt like, well, I'm white, so I have this advantage over you and you can't do anything about it, you know, and I'm sorry. But you know, guys, people in life typically use their advantages over people if they can. They do it. Black men, they know they have a certain level of power over us. They know that. They know that they are still white. And people are going to feel sorry for them. People are going to come to their rescue, even in Africa. In Africa, white women get more privilege, maybe than even in the States. Those things are true everywhere. And a black man really puts himself at a disadvantage because it's going to be difficult for you to express yourself in the same way that you would have done with somebody that is black. And you might not like what I'm saying, and I can understand it, I can get that, but we got to be truthful. And a lot of black men out there have lost their careers, have lost their livelihoods, have been put to jail. I had a coach, his white wife put him in jail, and it was largely suspected that he had never touched her, he had never done anything to her. Yeah, had his ass in jail for like 2 weeks. Then he ended up dropping it, he ended up going back to her. All she could do is say, I'm sorry, because she knew, as a black man, that, you know what, he hit me. Because he didn't come home when she wanted him to come home, or she didn't do anything he wanted to do, so she gonna do that. That's immature, right?
Ever since you were young, you were lied to. In fact, I was too. But one thing I'm never going to teach my kids is that I have to save up cash, use credit.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So I have a story that was shared with me, so I decided to share it with you guys. It's one of those situations that you kind of, y'all will see what I'm saying in a minute. Okay. Anyway, you have this man who spent 40 years of his life in prison after being falsely accused of, you know what, raping a so-called white woman. Now he and his wife, they can now share in more than $25 million together. See, initially they gave him $750,000. That's why I say more than $25 million. So anyway, he and his wife can share $25 million. After he was accused of raping a white woman. Take a listen at the report, y'all, and of course, I'll be right back.
Oh my God, have you heard this story? Welcome back. The city of Concord will have to pay out a record civil settlement for its part in wrongfully convicting Ronnie Long.
You'll remember Long spent 44 years in prison for a rape he did not commit after detectives and prosecutors hid evidence that could have proven his innocence. Our cameras were there the day he was released from prison.
Now he just won a $25 million settlement. The city also issuing the 68-year-old a formal apology.
WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden has been following this.
This is the biggest settlement in North Carolina's history for a wrongful conviction, one of the biggest ever in the U.S., but Long says it's the apology, something that's very rare in these cases, that means so much.
It has been a long time coming.
Ronnie is relieved. He's relieved that finally there is a public recognition and an apology of what was done to him and his family.
Ronnie Long was just 20 years old and living in Concord when, as a young black man, he was accused of raping a prominent white woman. Police built a bogus case, lying on the stand, hiding evidence that proved his innocence, and tampering with the jury.
Not only did law enforcement officers lie, but prosecutors were engaged in an active campaign to ensure that, despite the evidence of Ronnie's innocence, he remained incarcerated all these years, well past the time it was obvious that they had a wrongful conviction.
In August of 2020, Long was exonerated and freed after 44 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. The governor pardoned him and the state compensated him just $750,000. He told us then it wasn't nearly enough.
North Carolina intentionally put me in the penitentiary. And you tell me still $110,000? It was 44 years of my life.
Long filed a civil suit last year, and now the city of Concord is paying up with a record-setting $22 million settlement and an apology.
Here, the city of Concord really owned up to the past misdeeds of city employees, which is really remarkable. I don't know of any other case where a municipality has issued such an apology as part of a civil settlement.
As part of the settlement, the city of Concord, quote, acknowledges and accepts responsibility for the significant errors in judgment and willful misconduct by previous city employees that led to Long's wrongful conviction and imprisonment. The State Bureau of Investigation is also paying out $3 million, making the $25 million settlement the biggest in North Carolina's history for a wrongful conviction.
I think the message it sends is that both the city and the State Bureau of Investigation recognized that there was significant harm done here, and although money can't fix it, I think symbolically, when it's a large number like this one, I think that sends an equal message of apology.
Does the number sort of indicate how egregious the case was?
I think it's a big indicator of how egregious this case was.
We're told Long should actually have a check in hand this week. We've spoken with him and his family. They are relieved, and we hope to sit down with them on camera in the coming weeks. Back to you.
Did you hear Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos plans to unload 15 million shares?
We hope to sit down with them on camera in the coming weeks. Back to you.
Wow, I just noticed the cap he's wearing. It says Black Pride. It's a cute hat, isn't it? Black Pride. Interesting. That's a really nice hat. Really, really, really nice hat. Huh. So this man spent 40 years of his life in prison after being falsely accused of, raping a so-called white woman. Now he and his wife can share in $25 million together. And he has on a really nice cap that says Black Pride. Interesting. So here is the update to the story. Ronnie Long wins $22 million. A $22 million settlement from Concord for wrongful conviction. The other $3 million comes from another situation dealing with the case. But there he and his wife are. Okay. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it says the city of Concord will pay $22 million to a man wrongfully imprisoned in the 1970s for, what they claim he did. In announcing the settlement Tuesday, the city also issued a statement apologizing to Ronnie Long and acknowledging significant errors in judgment and willful misconduct by previous city employees that led to Long's wrongful conviction and imprisonment. Now I'm going to go down here where it says the settlement is in addition to $3 million paid to Long by the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation. So the combined amount is $25 million that represents the largest wrongful conviction settlement in North Carolina history and one of the largest wrongful conviction settlements nationwide, according to Long's attorney. So with that $25 million, and down here it says Long has served 44 years, 3 months and 17 days behind bars at the time of his release. Later that year, Long was formally pardoned by Governor Roy Groper and granted $750,000 in restitution from the state. So he got a lot of money, and he and his wife will have the opportunity. He and his wife will have the opportunity to be better together. Anyway, I am done. Chop it up in the comment section. As always, keep it tight, keep it right. But until the next live or the next video.
Hi. So I want to first off start this video by saying thank you to everyone who left comments on my last video, my why wait video. And I can tell you that you have a wider perspective on women who are over 30 and are a virgin. So thank you for those comments. So this week's video inspiration came from another video that I watched. Actually, it was a podcast, and in that podcast
this conversation has been living rent-free in my head, and I just wanted to talk about it. This happened in 2022, and I just never had an outlet or even people to even discuss it with. And so I just want to take this time out to do this video based on that video. Now, I just want to keep you in mind that it was made in 2022. The woman that hosts this podcast is now hosting a different podcast with a different name. So I want to just make sure that's clear. But the conversation, let's talk about it.
You talked about feeling a bit anxious about falling in love with a non-black person on the show because you're someone who was invested in the black culture. 3 years into marriage now. 3 years, Lauren.
Yeah, almost 4.
How has your perspective changed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my perspective honestly changed, I would say, right at the beginning. Just because I think the main thing for me, like the anxiety going into it was just like, man, what are my peers going to think that, you know, I'm so vocal about who I am, proud of who I am, proud of my culture, proud of all of that, and then going on the show and falling in love with someone who's not of that culture. Like initially that like scared me, and it's just like, oh my God, I'm judged, people gonna say this and that. But then I was just kind of like, well, are you happy? Like, do you feel like this guy really, you know, could be your husband? You guys could really be together? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, well, that's all that matters. But even just growth-wise, now from the 4 years from when we first met, I guess, got married, and we've definitely grown just through conversations and just through the ways of the world. I feel like so much has happened in the past 3 or 4 years, just, you know, in regards to the BLM movement, in regards to everything that we went through in 2020. And that really caused Cam and I to have some conversations that at times weren't that comfortable, that were difficult to have. And, you know, it's just stuff that had to be said just because it's like us as this, having this new platform and being this interracial couple in the very year when the world discovered racism, quote unquote, right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's just like kind of all of these eyes and voices were just like, so Lauren. And meanwhile, I'm just in a corner crying, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for today because the world's on fire and I'm just trying to handle it mentally. So, and Cameron as my husband, you know, even with him being a white man, he just wanted to help. He just wanted to support. What can I do? Tell me what to do. So we had to have a conversation that was difficult because it was kind of like, I mean, you can't do anything. This is something you'll never understand. This is something that, you know, the best thing you could do for me is support me in that moment. And I think that that was a tough conversation for us, but it was a real conversation. It was one that had to be had. And so, yeah, I would say we've definitely gotten stronger. And communication is definitely our strong point, and it's not something that we shy away from. I tell it how it is, you know.
That's key.
And that's how it has to be. It's so important for me to feel comfortable being myself in any relationship, let alone an interracial relationship.
All right, so the part that really triggered me as a black woman who has had an interracial relationship, it was the support part, where she felt like the only thing her white husband can do in a situation where there's so much racial tension, racial stuff going on in the world, that as a black woman, the only thing she can tell her white husband is to support her. Meanwhile, she's processing all her feelings in a corner as the world is crumbling around her. And that really affected me because I felt like I couldn't really my black ass self when I was in an interracial relationship. Just to give you a background, my daughter's father is Hispanic, and my background, I'm black Haitian. And so coming together, I realized that there were so many elements to our relationship that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to having an interracial relationship and having an interracial marriage. Now, I wasn't married, but we were on and off for 10 years. I might as well say that we were almost married, but we didn't have the paper. But there are some hard truths that's going to come out in this video that I have had to acknowledge and become aware of, that I feel like other couples who are in interracial relationships do not do, or do not even think of, or they do think of, they just don't talk about it. One of those things that was a hard truth for me is that I was not in love with my daughter's father. I was in lust. And it was almost to the point where I fetish-sized him. And being in a interracial relationship has taught me that I was very anti-black in that relationship. And that when you are in an interracial relationship, that your partner can be anti whatever their race is. If you don't acknowledge that or are aware of it, it's not going to work in the relationship that you have with your partner. In my interracial relationship, I feel like we both did not like our race. We had issues about our race. And we fetishize, I hope I'm saying it right, each other. And when I say that I had a fetish for lighter skinned men or non-black men, that's not saying that I do not like black men. When I was in my interracial relationship, I did not like myself. I didn't have negative feelings towards black men. I guess the only negative part was I didn't want to have a baby with a black man because I didn't want my baby to have dark skin. Because I didn't want her growing, her or him, because I didn't know what I was going to have when I had my daughter. But I didn't want my child to grow up the way I grew up, hating my blackness, hating my dark skin, or being made fun of because of my dark skin, not liking, loving my hair texture, those things. So I was anti-black towards myself, not against black men. And after being in an interracial relationship, I realized that it wasn't him, my partner, it was me. I had the problem. It didn't work because I didn't like myself. I didn't love myself, and I didn't love my blackness. And being in that relationship, I had to suppress my blackness. Because whenever I had what I call a black ass motherfucking day, where as a black person you go out, you experience racism, you experience microaggression, you just experience prejudices every single day of your fucking life. And those days where those things are heightened and those experiences that you have with non-black people are just miserable and just like makes you upset, it's very difficult to come home to a person you have a relationship with who is non-black, and they're telling you, well, are you sure that's what you got out of it? Are you sure that that person was being racist? Are you sure that person was being prejudiced? And just like making you doubt yourself. And even though you know damn well that it was microaggression, it was racism, it was them being prejudiced. But then when you're with a non-black person who's making you question, it makes you almost get to the point where you suppress your blackness just to be with this person. You can't really be your black ass self. Meanwhile, they can be their Hispanic self, they can be their white self, they can be their Asian self. But you as a black person, you're already suppressing a whole bunch of stuff. So not having a partner who understands the kind of day you just had and not be able to like comfort you and have like a raw discussion about it and like find a resolution for it, and having an outlet where you're just talking about your day and how this white person pissed you the fuck off, and wanting to be able to cry, wanting to be angry, and not thinking, well, my partner, are they going to think I'm an angry black woman? What? That's the very difficult part, is that you can love this person, but are they going to be there to understand what you are going through? What your race as a community is going through? And if they don't, it messes up a lot of things. And then when you bring children into it, that's another thing. And then you find out a lot of things when you're dating someone who is not of your race. One culture shock that I had was going to a family function and realizing there was an uncle that don't like black people, and he's just as dark as me. That was very confusing for me. Do you know how confusing that is? Walking into a function where there's darker skinned Hispanics and they don't like me because I'm black? What? That's another thing that you have to deal with. Do you not speak to this person anymore? Well, how is my partner going to react when they find out that a family member doesn't like me because of my black skin? I've had a situation where there was a white woman that I worked with. She was in an interracial marriage. Her husband's black. Her child looks black. Don't even look like he has any white in him. And it was an experience where he was playing with a family friend's friend. And one of the boys said the N-word. And when my white coworker continued to tell me about the story, she was like, "Oh, we're talking it out because these people, they're my they're family friend. We've known them for years. We know them before we had our kids." And she's going on and on they don't understand why he said that. They don't even know where he got the word from. That's when I had a problem. I didn't tell her this, but I'm telling you guys this. You cannot tell me as a parent that you don't know where your child learned something or have a learned behavior. Now, there's behaviors like ADHD and all those things that, yeah, you probably have to go to a medical professional for them to tell you that your child has ADHD. But when your child says a bad word, you know where that came from. And I just felt like those parents of that child who said the N-word was not acknowledging where their child got that word from. It's either for me in my mind, I'm thinking that child got that word from the parents themselves, and the parents don't want to admit it, or that child got that word from a family member or friends that is around that family friend, the so-called family friend. And they don't want to acknowledge that. Because when my daughter said, "Oh shit," I knew exactly where she got that word. It was from me, because there was one day I was doing something and I said, "Oh shit." Shit was my favorite word. And there was another time where my daughter came home and said, "Oh, who the hell is that?" I knew exactly where she got that from. She got that from my sister. So that BS that they didn't know where this child got the N-word, it just made me feel so angry that her black husband was almost suppressing his blackness to appease her and to make her comfortable. And to me, continuing a relationship and friendship with this family friend and that child and trying to work things out so they could have a better understanding and talk it out was not acceptable for me. My daughter's father, when he heard his uncle say something negative about me, I could talk all the shit about my baby daddy, but he fought for me. And he stopped talking to his uncle. He's like, "F you, don't ever talk to me, because you're not only not liking my daughter's mother, but you don't like my daughter. And he has a son from a previous relationship. So you don't like my son, you don't like my daughter, so that means you don't like me. So get the fuck out of my face." And he stopped talking to his uncle because of that. And to see this white woman not do the same just lets me know that that white people are really not equipped to be in an interracial relationship with black people. There's a lot of races, R-A-C-E-S. All races are not equipped to date black people. They are not. They're not ready for it. They don't acknowledge it. They can't accept it. They can't work through it. They can't process things the way a black person does. So that's why I'm very pro-black. And the things that I went through with my interracial relationship, when I did date a black man, it was so refreshing, because it was like, wow, he understands me. And I'm having a black ass motherfucking day. He made as raw as we wanted to. And as I'm older now that I'm in my 40s, it's really eye-opening. I know what racism looks like. I know what microaggression feels like. But there's no, second-guessing myself, thinking, well, maybe I'm tripping. No, I know I'm not tripping. And I've never been tripping.
Let me come in. My camera about to get low. That was a very interesting video. But yeah, that's one of the things, you have to really seriously think about in the future. When you have someone of a different nationality, and it really goes deep. That's why I believe that the Most High God had to really put you with somebody that would have an understanding, that would love you regardless. But there's some people, I've experienced that even just with friends, white friends. Even with I mentioned about the story about the one guy that's kind of like my neighbor friend. We turned out to be friends after being his neighbor. And it was a situation where his family never taught him about race. And it was a situation where I remember saying this a while back, probably on a video, that his brother-in-law, one time, his neighbor, who was no longer in the land of the living, this guy went on this rant rave about some individual that was Muslim, and his he did in a roundabout way, but he must have been the black Muslim, the dark Muslim. And my friend's brother-in-law was uncomfortable that he who was white, he felt uncomfortable. He didn't really associate, kind of withdraw for that. And he told me this when one day we were sitting out up in Cleveland. We went out to a restaurant, and I respect his brother-in-law for coming forward with it. He was white too. And it's funny how the guy I'm friends with, that I've gone out different activities with, he kind of played it off like, well, I know Fred wouldn't be like that, because he's a Christian man. It's like, and I didn't say nothing. I'm like, wow, you really don't get it. You really don't. Some white people are oblivious to some stuff like that. Some are and some are not. But even it told him, because he was telling me one time, his brother-in-law was telling me how another white guy come over him and start talking racial jokes. He told the guy, I don't want to hear none of this stuff. And that guy almost got into a fight over it. But I really respect that, and that it really opened up my eyes on how some people can block it off, and they can be in complete denial, or like she said, it makes it seem like it was you that have some problem with it. But long story short, not only, so he's trying to convince me in the car. So this is what he did, right? After the guy died, and I kind of respect that in a way, but what really kind of add insult to injury, he had a model plane, and he put the man's name on it. Yeah. So it's like, wow, you really, but he didn't want to believe, and I can tell that man, because when I would go over, his father I would go with him over to his father's neighborhood. You ever seen the type of people that they don't make eye contact with you? They'll talk to that person, but they're not going to make eye contact with you. Because most people generally are people, they kind of make a certain eye contact. But one thing about, I'm going to give you a cue how they're racist, is that when they don't want their neighbors or friends to know, they'll keep their focus on them, and they psychologically block you out when you are that black friend that's around them. And you might think, well, they're just shy. And maybe the first time I used to think some people and sometimes they're shy, but in some cases you go back the second, third time, they still act like that. So, yeah, But that's the part about it. So when you in a relationship with somebody with that, that's one of that's one of the things considered. And it's a whole different culture. Even though we all got children, true that we all are, we all believe red. I understand. I've heard that same talk, but systematically, psychologically, we going to see race, and that's just the way it's been programmed with us. Whether you want to call yourself a Christian, a Muslim, or whatever, or just a good man or woman, you're trained to see race. Whether you're white or you're black, you will be surrounded by people. Because you know why? Because TV, news, someone's experiences with someone of a different race change the whole perception of way people look at race. That's the truth. So you're going to come across people who see race. They may not be so, and I call this, as people are direct with it. You go in different parts of the United States, you go down south, they direct with it. Up Midwest to north, they indirect with it. You have to kind of figure it out. It's not like, look, we don't like no colored people here. That's it. They straight. This is what black people told me that's from down south. White people is different. He said, man, the white people are different than up here. It's like they kind of reserve and hide it. And that's true. And down south, if they let you know, if they don't like you, they don't like you. Period. But white people up here in the north and certain part of the west and northwest, whatever, you had to do something, but it's signified. They got to be open. They got the one. Some people got that same thing in common. They're just not direct with it. And see, one thing what Donald Trump did, and a lot of people get mad, but it showed how people were surprised in the white community how many people felt that way. But I laughed my butt off because it goes to show you as a black person, they have to see that their own really don't, that it was something political, but you see it went to a whole different level. And in it, and some, and whatever your reason for liking Donald Trump, but you have to see it. And there's some people that it's no different, because really, basically, it's based on fear and insecurity. That's what it is. And I think that America, and I say this before, has a spirit of racism. It will always have a spirit of racism till the day God takes us off this earth. It's implanted, it's emblooded, it's emboiled among people. Yeah, we all are human. We all go through the same conditions. We might go through the same conditions in our body. We might live a certain lifestyle. But when it comes deep, if one person up outside get more than the other, this has been shown in history. You see envious and jealousy rise up. That's what sparked the racial riots in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Georgia, and all across the country while we had racial riots. It was envious and jealousy, and based on a lie, someone has started a lie to harm innocent and brutalize and unalive a lot of people based on a lie. And that's never been, so that's why some black people feel the way that they do. When it comes to white people, we don't know, because until someone put their life online and really go into above. So it comes into the relationship part. That's why, and the black people, and there's white people and other people feel like, why you going with someone at the bottom of the totem pole? Because the media has painted black men, black women as something below, no matter what we do. So their friends and family believe, see, and perceive what they see. No matter, and not to know the person who you are as the person. There's some people who have that type of racial animosity. And sometimes in their family. And don't be surprised if you would. Some white people would never tell you that some use the N-word like it's an everyday conversation, and pull like it's not. Because who's in the household is of that color. Some use it once in a while. Trust me. If they don't use it, or they got someone will come around, have a conversation with them, and everybody looks like them that's using that conversation. Trust me. But anyway, I just want to hope you like the video, but make a different interest perspective of it. And black men, black women, or any other people listen to this, marry who you marry, but know what the reality of the relationship is, because you're going to face it one way or the other. So, but till then, be blessed. You guys take care. And good luck in your relationship if you're single, or if you're already seeing somebody. Make sure you got the right person, because everybody ain't for everybody. It's only about a matter of time they will show you who they really are. Take care. Be blessed.